All right, today we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to take this super short, super creepy story and pull it apart, piece by piece, to see what really makes it tick. To understand the mechanics of good horror. So let's just dive right in.
Okay, so believe it or not, we're actually starting at the end. This right here is the last line of the story, and wow, it is a gut punch. It makes you rethink everything you just read, right? It just leaves you with this creeping dread. To collect. Collect what? Who? This one line is basically the key to unlocking the whole story.
So how in the world do we get to a line like that? Well, it all starts with something familiar. See, the best horror stories, they don't throw monsters at you right away. They start in a world that looks just like ours. They set a trap using normalcy.
And here's the first crack in that normal world. It's something simple, something you or I could experience, a delay. The driver says the road ahead is not safe tonight. I mean, that's just vague enough to make you a little nervous, but not so weird that you'd freak out. But what it really does, it traps them. It puts all our characters in one place with nowhere to go.
And this is where things get really clever. The author sets up two kinds of threats at once. Look at this. Outside the bus, you've got this creepy fog rolling in, literally swallowing the streetlights. That's the obvious danger. But inside the bus, it's something quieter, more psychological. That little detail that nobody remembers anyone getting off the bus? Wow, that's just brilliant. It tells you something was wrong before anything really wrong started happening.
Okay, so we've got this low-level anxiety building. Now let's watch how the story slowly turns up the heat, taking us from just feeling off to knowing something supernatural is at play. It's a slow burn, and it all starts with a single voice.
And there it is. It doesn't like being ignored. That one little whisper, it changes the entire game. Suddenly, the fog, the delay, it's not just a thing. It's an it. It has a personality, and it's malicious. And what's so smart about this line is that it attacks the one thing the passengers are trying to do. Just ignore it and hope it goes away. This voice is telling them, nope, that's the worst thing you can possibly do.
And look how the author just stacks the evidence. This isn't just one random weird event. It's a pattern, an escalation. First, you hear the whisper. Then you see the lights flicker. And then something physically impossible happens. The windows fog up from the inside. By this point, there's no denying it, right? This isn't bad luck. It's an attack.
All right, so this is a huge turning point. Up until now, the horror has been kind of general, affecting everyone on the bus. But now, the story pivots. It zooms in, laser-focused, and makes this whole thing deeply personal for our main character, Zara.
So what does Zara do? Something any of us would do. She just wants to see what's going on outside, right? She wipes the condensation off the window to try and get some answers, to feel a little bit in control. It's such a normal, human thing to do, and the story uses that exact impulse to spring its deadliest trap.
But just imagine it. You wipe the glass, you're expecting to see your own reflection, but it's not you. It's somebody else's face staring back. Can you even process that? The story just hangs on that moment, letting that impossible reality sink in for Zara, and for us.
So let's really look at what happens here. The face is pale, classic horror stuff. But the smile is wider than any human should be able to smile. That's the detail that tells you this is not human. And then the killer move. She whips around, and no one's there. It's physically impossible. And then, total silence. The whispering is gone. Why? Because it doesn't need to whisper anymore. It has arrived.
And this is where we get to the real finale, the truly devastating part. You might think the face in the glass was the big scare, but you'd be wrong. That was just the appetizer. The real horror, the big reveal, is that the trap was never outside the bus. It is the bus.
The camera kind of pulls back now, showing the whole bus again, but this time, it's absolutely terrifying. Any hope of getting help from the other passengers is just gone, because they're not her allies. They're part of it. She is completely and totally alone, surrounded by monsters.
And here it is, the final checklist of doom. Their eyes are hollow, their smiles are stretched, just like the face in the window. The driver is a statue, the doors won't open, and now the fog is actually seeping inside. Every single exit, every single hope is slammed shut. It is absolutely over.
And that brings us right back to where we started, to that final, awful line, to collect. It all makes sense now, doesn't it? The bus was never just a bus. It was a trap, a predator. The delay wasn't a problem. It was part of the plan. And Zara, she wasn't just a passenger. She was the final piece of the collection.
And that's really the idea that sticks with you, isn't it?
The story is so effective because it taps into a fear we all have deep down. The fear of realizing way too late that we've made a terrible, irreversible mistake. That we saw the little red flags, the little warnings, and we just ignored them. Until suddenly, the doors are locked. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How often do we miss the signs that we're on the wrong ride?